Okay, so I just want to go over what a good metabolism assignment looked like. So here's a student example. So the first thing that you were to do, if you're doing this assignment correctly, was to make sure that your metabolism log, the first question was answered. So you research some food nutrition and you discuss what foods you should eat and why. So I'm not going to read the whole answer, but when you look at this, you can see that, they talked about different types of foods. They talked about different vitamins that are involved in the foods. And they also talked about the word metabolism and how these things are healthy for you. You were then supposed to compare your diets to the foods you researched. So they did a nice job of making an analysis there. And the whole point was for you to get somewhat of an understanding of what a healthy diet looked like and to get an idea whether yours might be healthy or not before you get going. So this next part, you really couldn't do any of this table till after you did the worksheet. So let's take a look. Okay, so on the student worksheet, the first thing you were supposed to do was to make sure you filled out the calorie intake calculator. So you enter your name here, your age, your gender, how tall you are, your weight, and that spit out a number for you based on the calculations built into this spreadsheet, which calculated your BMR, which is your basic metabolic rate. And that is the amount of metabolism going on in your body at rest. So if you were to do nothing, you still need energy. Remember, everything needs energy to be alive. It's one of the characteristics of all living things. So you're constantly breathing in oxygen, you're constantly eating, and your body's using up the oxygen in the food you eat to create energy in all of your cells so that your cells can do the things it needs to do. All the chemical processes that you're not seeing that allow you to get up, that allow you to think, that allow you to just do lots of cellular activity that you're not aware of inside your body. Well, some of us are more active than others, so after you added in an active lifestyle, you got left with a daily needs, and these are the amount of calories that you need each day. Okay? The other thing you were supposed to do in the worksheet was to make sure that you, trying to get over here to see this, was to make sure that you calculated or that you listed all of your different foods you ate on a daily basis. Okay, we got to scroll up to the top. Too many tabs open down here. I can't seem to move the screen around very well. Let's see. I know what happened. We switched to a new page. There we go. All right. So one thing I want to point out here, these are the other these are their worksheets, and so you can see here's a day 2, a day 3, and obviously day 1 through 5 look similar in terms of listing the foods you eat and then figuring out how much weight in ounces. I would have rather it does metric, but the template I found uses ounces, and it calculates the calories each day for each food and then totals all of the calories you eat in a given day. Okay, so this person did a really nice job of this. There's a lot of foods listed. It lets me know that they really tried to, as best they could, really analyze what they were eating for a day. Okay? Some of you left in some of the example foods that I had there. And so, that shows me that you didn't give it all the attention it deserved. So once you figured out the 5 days worth of eating, how many calories you eat per day, now you're ready for the worksheet. And so when we get there, here's the table that you're supposed to fill in. Here are the 5 days. These are the calories from those worksheets for the 5 days. This basic metabolic rate was calculated from the student example worksheet. I don't know if I can get back to it, but I'll try. There we go. Okay, so that's that number here. Then you had this moderate activity level, which, again, you chose from here, the activity levels. And then the last thing you were to put in was your daily needs, and that was this number right here. Okay? So once you had those read, a lot of you left these blank. I specifically colored them so you would realize you had to fill them in to draw attention to them, but a lot of you simply missed that in the chart. So these are the calories each day. These are the total calories needed. That doesn't change. That stays the same. And then this is the subtracted. So if I needed this much, but I only got this much, I have a deficit, right? So I have 1,200 calories less than what I needed in a given day, and 1,300. And this is a lot of calories. So let's talk a minute about accuracy of this. So there were a lot of good things to get out of this activity, and I'll explain in a minute. But I understand that it was probably difficult for some of you to be accurate. If you have 1,000 calorie deficit per day, that's a lot of calories. That would mean you're probably losing a significant amount of weight on a regular basis. So two things happen. One is they either calculated their total daily caloric needs a little high. It does seem a little bit high, or they calculated the amount that they eat a little bit low, or a combination of both. Okay. So how do I feel about that? Well, I'm not really so stuck on the accuracy of these numbers as I am about giving you something to think about in terms of what you're eating. So I think that the real value came in doing these worksheets here that a lot of you left either incomplete or didn't bother to do them, right? Really looking at what you eat, how much of that you eat, and how many calories are in those foods. That's a lifelong skill. People do that for their whole life. Maybe they don't always write it down like this. If you were to go to a dietitian for any reason to find out if you had allergies or to find out, if you were having weight issues, you would actually do this. You would keep a food journal or a food log, and they would help you break this down and figure these things out. And theirs probably is a little bit more accurate because they could tailor it to who you are as a person rather than giving you these generic sheets. But the process is the same. And you're not a professional dietitian, so I wasn't so much caught up in the fact that this was totally accurate, other than to give you something to think about. So you might look at this and say, okay, well, maybe my numbers are a little bit off, but in general, I'm eating pretty healthy. Like, that would be a good thing to get out of it. The other thing you might get is, wow, I'm eating a lot more calories than I need, and I know I've been kind of overweight for my age for quite a while. Where are all these extra calories coming from? Well, wow, look at all the soda I drink. Look at how much sugar there is in everything I'm eating. Look at all the junk food with the high fat content. Those kinds of things would be very, very helpful to you, right? So those are the kinds of things I was hoping for in terms of, doing this and kind of seeing some of the numbers. Always good to take averages. You guys aren't really good at that. So when you take your 5 days and you total them up like here, and then you divide by 5, this is the average number per day. You might fluctuate like 1,500 calories in one day and only 1,300 another day. That's 200 calorie difference. Well, that's going to happen. But on an average, 1,399 calories per day, I can then say, wow, I'm like 1,400 calories below what I'm eating on a regular basis. When you were done, the last 3 questions were really about you just thinking about what you do, right? Analyzing, thinking, reflecting. These are important skills that you do throughout your life. And so from a science point, what do we get out of this? Hopefully we get out of the fact that we're thinking about metabolism, all of the chemical activities that happen. We are thinking about the foods we eat, and in particular, the types of organic compounds that are in there: carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, nucleic acids. Okay, am I getting enough of each? Am I having too much and not enough of something else? Those kinds of things is what I wanted you to see. All right, so I hope that was helpful. I hope it kind of explained and why you might have gotten